Welcome to Financial Issues, where we help you steward faithfully by honoring God with your investments. Now listen in as we give you the practical tools and advice you need to become a biblically responsible investor.
This is Financial Issues, where we help you defund darkness and fund the light by investing with biblical integrity. Welcome to the show, everyone. It's great to be here with you this morning. Seth Udinsky, Sam Case, and your host, Mark Manila, on a Winning Wednesday. Mark, it's good to be here.
Good morning. Welcome to Winning Wednesday.
Yeah, we're excited for it, folks. Hope you'll call in. The phone lines are wide open. Maybe you've put a question into our question portal and you've been waiting to get that question answered. Just call in. Give us a call right now and you'll skip the line and you can talk to us and get your questions answered. The number to call in is 610-363-1110. Again, 610-363-1110 if you want to join the live conversation. Appreciate each of you this morning. Mark, we're going to have a great show today. I'm excited. Dan Steiner of Preborn is going to join us. We're discussing a tough topic, the horrid growth of the abortion pill, but some good news with that is what Preborn is doing to fight against it as we continue our Heartbeat campaign. We'll talk more about that later on. We do have Winning Wednesday as well. We'll get to a wonderful thing that's happening related to that news here. But first and foremost, guys, our top story for today looks like the United States added nearly $700 billion to our national debt in 4 months. And I'm told, guys, that that's actually a pretty tame number. Sam, what can you tell us about this?
I don't know if I should be excited or I should weep about this when you say, oh boy, we're only going to spend $1.8 trillion this year. That's what the Congressional Budget Office is predicting this year. Yes, you're right, Seth. They added $700 billion to the national debt in just 4 months, with January alone seeing $94 billion borrowed. So the estimation, as I said, is $1.8 trillion for this year. Put in context, that's actually not too bad. In 2020, during COVID-19, we saw $4 trillion added. 2021 was pretty good, $1 trillion added. Then for the rest of the years, it was around $2 to $2.5 trillion. So this year, actually, we're seeing a decrease in the amount that we're spending, but still, that's a hefty price tag indeed. The total debt now stands at $38.5 trillion, about 125% of the nation's GDP, only slightly lower than the COVID era. And the previous record was around World War II with a ratio of 106%.
So, Mark, what do you think? Should we be excited about this? Like Sam said,
I know. Is that good or bad?
Lesser of two evils, I guess.
I am just very upset with the both of you to start a show with this article, knowing how much I hate debt and how much I believe debt is probably the number one issue or the number one enemy of America right now. It is what can drive us to losing our nation, to losing our status as the number one nation in the world, to losing our status as the trade currency of the world. Debt is the number one enemy of America right now. And we're starting Winning Wednesday off with a losing proposition.
Well, we got to show you the bad stuff so the wins are all the more sweeter, you know?
Do you all see what I have to put up with here? On the other hand, I think it's a great example of what we're going to be facing for the rest of this year. Notice they used 4 months. They didn't use a quarter, 3 months. They didn't use a full year. They somehow figured out a way to make sure that what is the worst way we could present this? So they took 4 months, which it took to make it look worse than probably it is. Because what we are seeing is a bit of a trend, a downward trend in the deficit spending of our country. Some people say that's just not true. But remember, we're on that J curve, economic J curve, as they implement all the things to bring not only this country's infrastructure and manufacturing back on shore, they're also starting to bring the deficit down and starting to bring the debt down. I don't know if they're going to be able to do it in time. I don't know if they have the will or the political backbone to do it, but it needs to be done. So here's my answer or response to this. Ouch, I hate this. I think it's awful. And yes, we should be very concerned. And then secondarily, but we got to be careful with manipulating numbers over 3 months, 2 weeks, 1 day, and 6 hours to get the right number they want to get to make it sound like the administration is losing without doing any comparison to other 4 months periods for the last administration or the last 10 years or whatever. But all that said and done, let's get back to the core. It's bad. We need to change this. Write your congressman, write your senator, write your House. It's the House of Representatives. They're the ones we need to hold accountable. First them, then the Senate. I think Trump would sign any bill that would reduce the budget as long as it doesn't cause harm to America. And we need to get this done. We need to get it done soon because the interest alone is overtaking almost every other class of our budget right now, and it shouldn't do that. We're like 20 foot away from the edge of the waterfall. That's the way I feel right now.
Well, and Mark, it's important for us to remember this too. Throughout history, governments that leaned towards statism, so meaning that they're the kind of the ethos of the nation or the country was that the government's going to take care of me, that the state is God. They almost always have massive amounts of debt. And so what they end up having to do is end up hurting their own people through taxation and different things like that. And Mark, I got to tell you, you mentioned the House. I really hope that Speaker Mike Johnson, who is himself a professing Christian, understands this and understands how dangerous it looks for our government to have this type of debt, knowing historically what we've seen with other governments like this. It happened with Rome. Rome fell. It happened with communist countries that fell, the Soviet Union, different things like that. So, yeah, a good lesson for us, I think.
Yeah. So, bottom line, let's continue applying pressure on Congress. Let's call, let's write, let's demand fiscal sanity. Let's support, this is the most important, let's support candidates this year who understand stewardship and will lead us in the right direction. And then let's discern the headlines really carefully moving forward. The issue is not whether we're below the pandemic peak or the trend is right. The issue is that we remain on an unsustainable path. It's just going down too slow at this point. Hopefully, new numbers will come out in the next 3 to 6 months to show that path steepening in the deficit spending. We're actually reducing deficits. Hopefully, we'll be reducing deficit spending so much faster.
Mark, in a topic related to this, it looks like the House of Representatives is looking to pass a major housing package, actually. Now, I'll be interested to see how this connects to this. Sam, what's the details here?
Yeah, it's called the Housing for the 21st Century Act, passing overwhelmingly bipartisanly, 390 to 9. That happened, I believe, on Monday. Congressman Andy Barr of the House Financial Services Committee spoke ahead of the vote, and here's what he had to say about the bill.
Right now, families across America are still recovering from Biden-era inflation, sky-high interest rates, and a Washington regulatory state that makes it harder and more expensive to build a home. The radical left's answer is always more government, more mandates, more red tape. Well, that's how we got into this mess. Republicans have a better answer. Build more homes faster, better, and cheaper.
According to Fox News, the bill encourages construction of multifamily housing, taller buildings on smaller lots, and less restrictive state and local permitting. Much of the bill aims to expand so-called middle housing. That's the gap between kind of your single-family homes and then your large, massive apartment buildings. The bill now heads to the Senate. Fate kind of unknown, as the Senate also passed a housing bill of its own. So probably something will get done, but there might need to be some reconciliation between those two bills as of right now.
Yeah, and the reconciliation process is where all the fat gets inserted into the bills, unfortunately. I like the idea that this recognizes that we have a supply problem. It's not just a pricing problem in the houses, but there's a supply problem, and that's why the pricing's so high. So having incentives to build more entry and mid-level housing is a great idea. I love it, as long as it's not government grants doing it, because we don't have the money, as we just talked about, to do that. If it's incentives like tax incentives or imagine a builder that if they could build a house and they can make 15 to 30% more on that house because they don't have to pay tax, or they pay less tax on the profits from these small entry-level to mid-level houses, that would incentivize them to do so and get going. Along with how much lumber has come down and the construction materials have come down over the last few years, since COVID, dropping 60, 70%. That's getting back to almost a norm. That's a good thing. So if it focuses on construction and not handouts, I'm all for it. If it's going for handouts and, sending money to people to buy houses, I'm not for it. We don't need to do that. We just need to get the supply up. And the way we do that is make it easier by reducing the regulations, not the safety, the regulations, and tax incentives. So hopefully they'll do that, and hopefully you agree with me. But, there's a chance somebody doesn't agree with me. I'd like to hear from you, and I'd like to hear from all of you with your questions. 610-363-1110. Give us a call. We want you to join the party today on Winning Wednesday. Join us.
My wife and I, we moved into this neighborhood. We had some experience with Crossroads Kids Club. We had served at another club. We kind of thought to ourselves, it would be really, really cool for us to actually bring in a club that was able to share the love of Jesus with kids directly into the school. And so we started our Crossroads at Hilltop.
Crossroads is amazing. You can learn all kinds of things about God. That He loves all of us. He died on the cross to pay for our sins. That He will help me in every way.
There is just such tremendous opportunity to reach kids in some of these areas that just aren't being reached.
Sometimes I pray every night. When I feel alone sometimes, God is right there sitting next to me. I can rely on Him no matter what happens.
Help reach kids with the hope of the gospel. Visit reachourschools.com.
Everyone keeps talking about how important it is to invest. But every time I try to understand it, I just get more and more confused.
I get it. Stocks are scary. The market's
Investing isn't something you do. It's a calculated process that requires...
I've had enough of the noise.
If you want some help with investing, you should check out Financial Issues.
I started investing today. Since getting connected to Financial Issues, I've had no more worries. Go to financialissues.org to become a partner today.
Would you join Financial Issues and Preborn as we celebrate heartbeats? Your tax-deductible donation of $120 or any amount will provide free ultrasounds, counseling aid, and the gospel message to a mother in an unplanned pregnancy. Become a heartbeat hero and give monthly to save lives over and over again. To donate, dial pound 250 and say the keyword baby, or go to financialissues.org and click on the Preborn banner.
Hey, folks, now's a great time to call into the program. You'll get right in the queue if you call now, 610-363-1110. We have a petition up right now, Mark. We are petitioning against Oki. That was one of our former companies that we held, OKE, no longer biblically responsible, and we want to make sure that they know about it. Go to our Take Action page on financialissues.org to sign that petition. We want everyone who's listening to the program to sign that petition there. Mark, interesting things that we're seeing here, switching gears to the fight for life.
Hey, before we switch gears, can I just bring one thing?
Go ahead.
These petitions are really important. Whether we get 500 or 5,000, your voice is heard, and it helps them to. I've seen one letter from one investor in a mutual fund change the direction of that mutual fund in the past 30 years. I've seen that twice now. So don't think that our voice doesn't count, that your voice doesn't count. Sign that petition, help us to get it off to them, and let's see if we can move them in the right direction.
Absolutely. Appreciate that, Mark. Can't do it without you folks, so join us in that. So, Mark, interesting things happening here, and I think, unfortunately, really sad and disastrous, and dare I even say satanic things. It looks like chemical abortions now account for nearly 2/3 of all abortions in the United States. Now, all abortion is evil, but when you realize the fact that now women can literally just take a pill in their bathroom and end the life of their child, which estimated around 7.5 million children since the abortion pill mifepristone's initial approval back in 2000. We saw a 2025 study found the abortion pill is 22 times more dangerous than the FDA originally claimed. So the FDA just flat out lied about this. And now not only is this pill deadly to the baby, but it's also quite harmful to the women. According to the study, 1 in 10 women experience a serious adverse event after taking mifepristone, while the FDA had claimed that it was less than 0.5% of women. So blatant lie from our government there. Mark, what do we make of this?
Wow, it just hurts my heart on every level. There is nothing about this report that makes you go, oh, well, there's hope here or there's hope there. It hurts. It hurts so bad to see a society that was founded on God, on Christ, a country that was created by the blessings of God, to go so much against, to be so self-centered, and so it just breaks my heart. It just almost brings me to tears to talk about this. And the idea that it's gotten as easy as taking an aspirin to kill a baby, it really just breaks my heart. Yeah. But to really understand this, we need to go to somebody that can help us join us to help us to fully understand the impact of what mail order abortion is and how it's impacting our country, our lives, just everything in general. So if possible, let's talk with Dan Steiner here, founder and president of Preborn. Dan, are you with us?
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Dan, good morning, sir. Good morning. It is a good morning despite this ugly numbers we're reading here about the mail order abortions. And Dan, I'd like to ask you, what's the impact of mail order abortion right now?
Well, this is a play for the main reason that the abortionists, other than serving Satan unwittingly, are doing it, and that is there's more profit to them. Planned Parenthood has shut down over 100 abortion clinics, abortuaries last year, and they're okay with that. And while the pro-life movement generally celebrates this shutting down of abortion clinics, it doesn't matter, because now 68%, probably more, of the abortions, as you guys have indicated, are at-home abortions. And this is a less overhead for them, no electric bill, no insurance, less liability. They're not hands-on with the woman, and a lot more risk, as you've mentioned, for the women, 10% of them being severe hospitalizations. And here's why. A young woman rarely knows how far along she is gestationally. The abortion pill was supposed to be, by the way, the abortion pill isn't a pill, it's 2 pills. It's mifepristone and misoprostol. And that deadly abortion chemical coat hanger, one kills the baby, the other causes contractions. But if she's too far along gestational, if the baby's too big in the womb, not all of the contents of the womb will be emptied out. 5 days later, she has a septic-like infection. Now, that's happening all too often, like almost 11%. If she has an ectopic tubal ligation pregnancy, the baby's going to continue to grow, but you can only diagnose that with an ultrasound. The abortion pill peddlers will tell her, take the pills, you'll experience a lot of bleeding. Well, if she has a fallopian tube, deadly tubal ligation, and it explodes, or a fallopian tube, she's in danger of her life, and she'll have a lot of bleeding. She'll think it's normal. So this is just a travesty on women. I've spoken with the head of the FDA myself. I think that he wants to change it. I think that the winds of political and barriers of political expediency are preventing him from being able to do so. And hopefully after the midterms, the administration, which is a blockage for this, frankly, will rise up and do something about it, because it is a travesty on women.
You said this administration is a blockage of this? What did you mean by that?
I don't think that the administration will embrace. It's a fact. They're not. They have the facts that you and I have talked about, and they're doing nothing about it. They're not letting the FDA do something about it. The FDA is now run by pro-life individuals, individuals like RFK, who is concerned about health, and yet Nothing is being done and probably won't be because they don't perceive it as a political asset in what's going to be a highly contested midterm. So they don't want to embrace the issue.
So babies are going to be murdered en masse this year because of political pride and political ambitions.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've got all the facts that we need. Recently, they said that it might take a year worth of research. It doesn't. The research is there now. We'll just see how it all falls out. We are hoping to do a campaign directly after the midterms to see if we can get something moving on this. But the reality is the best solution right now, Mark and Seth, is to reach these women before they get the pill at their house. And that's what
how do we do that?
Financial Issues have done. Yeah. You guys have been helpful, tremendously helpful. 6,400 babies so far this year, 2026. The year's pretty early yet.
Awesome.
Last year, we together saw over 84,000. Check it out, 84,302 babies saved because of the listeners, your audience of Financial Issue. Thank you if you're listening out there. Many of you for many, many years. The onset with Dan and Yvonne, and now moving forward with Mark and the team here, we're still saving lives week in, month out, and also giving them the opportunity, most importantly, to have a better worldview by accepting Christ as their Lord and Savior. We've seen over 10,000 women last year make commitments to Christ. And so, we're reaching them online before they were competing with the abortion industry hour by hour. It costs millions of dollars, frankly, to be able to do this, to reach them. But if we don't, no one else is doing this at scale. Only Preborn is across the nation to reach these women online.
Exactly. And that's why what you're doing this month, this February, the Heartbeat campaign, encouraging people to become a heartbeat hero is so important, because we can get more women to become conscious that this is a true child. Once a woman sees their baby, I know this from direct. My wife was an RN, and she worked in PQ, and she worked in all sorts of areas. And when a woman saw her baby in the womb, almost the majority of the time, they changed their attitude. They realized this is not just a mass of cells. This is my baby. This is my daughter. This is my son. And they would embrace that. And knowing that they have someone like you and your organization behind them, not only to have this baby, but to help provide for this baby and to help them to realize the spiritual aspect of it all, is just incredible. This campaign that we're on is essential to saving tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands more babies during this time when we're not going to get a lot of political backing for at least 10 months here to move things forward. So I just really, tell us more about the Heartbeat campaign.
Well, we're just so thankful that each $28 gift, 5 for $140, 10 for $280, those are specifically given to our clinic to help underwrite an ultrasound session. We had a 30-year-old girl, Mark, that came in, woman, I wouldn't say girl, come in recently to one of our clinics. She had a drug abuse in her history. She was just trying to get on track, and now she's newly pregnant. Father's gone, facing the prospect of parenting alone. It's a bad situation. She's desperate. She was strongly considering abortion. But one of the listeners of Financial Issues provided a free ultrasound, a safe, supportive environment for her, encouraging her through our compassionate counseling, through prayer, through telling her we'd walk with her through the whole pregnancy, and most importantly, seeing the baby on ultrasound and hearing that heartbeat. We say heartbeat heroes because it's not just seeing the baby. The most effective thing is hearing the heartbeat, because blobs of tissue don't have heartbeat. And I've had OBs tell us that there's an endocrine reaction when a woman hears her baby's heartbeat inside her womb. So I don't have the medical science behind it, but I know that there is an emotional one for sure. And of course, she resoundingly chose life. Now she's 30 weeks pregnant with a baby girl, and doing parenting classes. So this is what we're doing together. We're going to have a baby shower for her, and she's got a loving family that's beside her now. And so this is life and death. This is sorrow and joy. The difference is stark.
And what easier way is there to become a hero than to just donate $120 a month or $150 a month or $28 a month or whatever you can? You now can save babies' lives. You can become a heartbeat hero, and save babies' lives and save women's lives from this horrible mail order abortion pills that they're taking that occasionally do cause not only harm, but actually death in women's lives. Let's join together, everyone. Let's all become heartbeat heroes. I'm one. Will you join me? Will you join us at Financial Issues to help preborn to do so? They're depending on you for the life of children. And we'll be right back, 610-363-1110. Dan, thank you so much for being with us.
As a member of Samaritan Ministries, your monthly share is a gift that goes directly to a real person in need. While that share takes care of the financial portion of a need, medical needs are complex and include the physical, mental, emotional,
Did you know that an unborn baby's heart beats at an average of 120 times every minute? That steady rhythm, that precious sound, that's the sound of life. Hi, I'm Mark Manella, host of Financial Issues. And today, I want to encourage you to give to the amazing work of Preborn. Preborn partners with local pregnancy clinics across the nation to help mothers choose life, providing free ultrasounds, counseling, and the gospel of Jesus Christ.
This Valentine's season, we invite you to join Financial Issues and Preborn in a mission to save babies and transform lives. Your donation of $120 can make an extraordinary difference. To donate, dial pound 250 and say the keyword baby. That's pound 250, baby, or go to financialissues.org. That's financialissues.org, and click on the Preborn banner.
Navigating through investment options can be challenging, especially when you're determined to uphold your God-given values. Every dollar you invest is a vote for the world that you want to live in. Let your values guide your investment decisions and help to shape the culture in which we live. Become a beacon of light and pave the way with biblically responsible investing. Timothy Plan, where faith and finance collide. Before investing, carefully consider the fund's investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the investment company. This and other important information can be found in the fund's prospectus. To obtain a copy, visit timothyplan.com or call 800-846-7526. Read each prospectus carefully before investing. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
It's great to be here with you all on the show today, and I hope that you were inspired by hearing Mark and Dan talk about the meaning of being a heartbeat hero. It's an amazing thing, Mark, and boy, we have got to stand in the gap for these little ones. We just have to, you know.
Yeah, I get so emotional over this. It just, if you ever take the time to just sit down, meditate, and pray about this, talk to the Lord about what this is really all about and stuff, it can't do anything but change you and draw you closer to Christ, for one. But it will start breaking your heart to the point that you have to do something. And I know our partners, I know our listeners are all involved. And so, we don't have to guilt anybody into this. We don't have to try and persuade you, but pass it along. Tell other people what's going on here. We can say, how many babies did he say we saved already this year?
Something like 6,500, something like that.
6,500 babies. Yeah. Let's continue this. Cool. Let's increase it by sharing the news of what Preborn is doing and how we can support that.
Yeah, absolutely. Folks, the easiest way, and by the way, we're trying to meet a goal of $21,000 over these next 2 weeks. If you go to preborn.com/FISM, you can give securely right there. You can lead as the Lord gives. $28 provides an ultrasound scan. That might be a life-saving scan. It's not a lot of money to save the life of a baby, $28. Or you can do the 120 or $240 and, provide more and more of those scans, or maybe even underwrite a whole machine, which would be somewhere in the range of $5,000 to $15,000, something like that. But it'd be a great thing for you to do. You can also dial pound 250 and say keyword baby, and you can give securely there. Great stuff. Mark, it is Winning Wednesday, and it's been, in some ways, a disheartening round of topics that we've talked about, especially the most recent one. But as you and Dan both said, there are a lot of good things happening, and we are fighting back. And spoiler alert, folks, I don't know if you know this. I've read the end of the story. I've read Revelation. We're going to win. Okay. So let's just get that out there right off the bat. But we're seeing these wins continually happening. And here's a great one, Sam. We're seeing, what is it, dozens of abortion clinics closed in the year 2025. That's awesome.
Yes. According to the pro-life group Operation Rescue, they say that Planned Parenthood specifically shut down 64 facilities last year. So 36 of those were actual abortion facilities. So there are 36 buildings out there that are no longer doing abortions from Planned Parenthood. 28 of those were referring for abortions. Now there are 4 states in total that have absolutely no Planned Parenthood facilities in them at all, which is a major win. Awesome. There are still over 650 abortion facilities operating in the United States right now. But what's really cool, pregnancy centers like the ones run by Preborn, they now outnumber those 4 to 1. So it definitely is still a fight, but it's one that we're on the right side of, and we're certainly winning, so it seems.
Awesome.
Yeah, and when people say, when people come to me and they say, Mark, I love it, the returns from your portfolios over the years when you had your advisory or what you're helping with now with financial issues are good, and I really like that, but I don't care about this biblical responsible stuff. Effectively, what they're saying is, I don't care if companies are taking all the profits from their stuff and using it to research how to kill babies and come up with new ways to kill babies, like these pills. I don't care if these companies are using and abusing God's children with slave labor, and I'm part of it. I just don't care. I just don't believe people believe that. They just don't know what they're getting involved with and what they're partnering in. And that's why biblical responsible investing, one of the core concepts of being a steward, is so important. If God has blessed you beyond your needs and he's given you what we call the froth of your stewardship, meaning money you don't need to survive, money that may be useful for preparing for the future, but he's given you a froth of blessings, why not invest them in a way that honors him and defunds the darkness and funds the light, as we say here? And when we do that side of the equation, when corporations start seeing people moving out of their stocks and not participating with them in that darkness, they start rethinking where they're going to put their money. It's happened over and over again, and it's going to continue to happen, as you've seen with the shutting down of DEI and other things like that going on. But it's much deeper than that. Much deeper than that. Companies give their money to Planned Parenthood, the profits that should be our dividends. When we move away from those companies, they start rethinking things. Money talks to corporations. And that's why this side of the equation is just as important. But then we got partners like Preborn that are on the other side, that are on the front lines going directly head to head and saying, hey, we're going to do something about this. We're going to care for this woman and her baby. We're going to guide them. We're going to educate them. We're going to help them with the baby needs and the mom needs, and both physically and spiritually. This is all one big stewardship ball that we get to participate in, great works of God. And I'm so glad we get to do this here at Financial Issues, and so glad he's given us this platform to do this.
Me too, Mark. Check it out, folks, preborn.com/FISM. Mark, let's get to some questions here, shall we? We've got Stephen. Stephen's asking, hey, Mark, greetings. I'm writing briefly to ask 2 questions. So, Mark, let's tackle his first one first. For the growth model, using the Timothy Plan, the small to mid-cap funds, is that just the small cap value fund, or does it also include the small to mid-cap growth fund? That's his first question.
Oh, yeah. Well, Stephen, that's a good question. Remember, we try to give you options and availability. So not only do you have the different options in your asset allocation model, which are general, and they're not rigid in the sense of what exact stock or mutual fund you should drop in there. For example, maybe you're in a growth and income portfolio. And so you have multiple, let's say Timothy, and you're in the fund portfolio. You have multiple growth ETFs and mutual funds to use. The idea is, where are you in that portfolio? Are you just entering into that from a growth portfolio so you're younger and you have more time and your sleep factor is strong? Or are you down the road a bit and you're getting concerned about the volatility? Well, by having different types of mutual funds, growth funds, such as a small cap value or small cap growth in the ETFs and the mutual funds, you also have the ability to lean towards maybe a more aggressive portfolio in the growth income or a less aggressive, or you might just diversify out a little bit more to help to have a little more diversification by having a little bit of each. So you can fine-tune your portfolio based on who you are and how you want that portfolio to be within that asset allocation you chose. So the answer is, yeah, they're all there for you. You just need to decide which ones more align with your time frame, your ability to accept volatility in the market, and choose the ones that work for you and weight the ones that lean more towards your sleep factor and your time frame than the others that don't.
That's great, Mark. 610-363-1110. Mark, Stephen's second question is this.
He's double dipping. Is he allowed to do that?
You know what? He sure is. Stephen, we appreciate you, brother. He says, the second question is about the commodities in that model. How do I include commodities in the model? So this is the fund model, Mark, with Timothy when it's not a fund. I'm trying to follow the model, but I admit I don't understand some of it. So what should he do?
Okay. Well, I don't know. Did he say what platform he's on? If he's direct at the fund at Timothy Plan, there's no way to do this outside of maybe using the the defensive fund, strategy fund. That one has some gold in it. Yeah. But if you're at a platform like a brokerage platform or somewhere else, you can buy an ETF that's not issued by Timothy Plan, but is clean. We use, right now we're using Sprott Physical Gold and Sprott Physical Silver to do that. There's nothing wrong with adding those in. Those are funds too, even though they're very limited funds. One's just gold, solid gold bricks being stored up somewhere for every dollar you put in there, and one silver. So, but that's how you would do that, is using those kind of funds in your portfolio.
Awesome, Mark. That's great stuff. Stephen, you can check out the Mark had mentioned those names there. They're on the buy list, so just go to the buy list. You can look at them there and consider those ones. I think that's great.
Yeah, and thank you for that question. I think that maybe a lot of people had that question. First of all, because at one point, I think that the mutual fund asset allocations were called the Timothy Plan asset allocations. But they're more than that, because there's asset classes outside of Timothy Plan that we believe that you need to be in. And by the way, so does Art. He's very big in owning physical gold, and that's why he has it in some of their funds. But to have a set allocation that, unfortunately, Timothy Plan doesn't have that kind of fund yet. That'd be cool if they come out with a physical gold ETF, wouldn't it?
That'd be great. Be great. We need to do a peg.
Are you listening, Art?
Hopefully he is. I don't know, Mark. Does Art listen regularly to the show? He should.
Oh, I don't know. He knows the show. I mean, we talk probably. We talk enough that I know he is listening.
Yeah, good. Well, listen, Mark, we're so thankful for Timothy Plan and for
Absolutely.
what you brothers did back in the 80s and 90s to, lead the way for young bucks like us to try to be biblically responsible. It's amazing, Mark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk about heroes. We talked about heartbeat heroes. Art is a BRI hero. He I think anything to do with BRI that is proper has been built on the shoulders of Art, because he's the one who risked it all to begin the investments by launching the Timothy Plan. And I so appreciate that. As much as I appreciate everybody who's gotten on board and wants to honor God with all they have, including their investments. Thank you for investing with biblical integrity, and thank you for being with us today. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
I heard about Jesus in my public school, and my life changed.
For over 25 years, God has used Crossroads Kids Club to bring the gospel right to where children are, inside public schools.
Will you help us share Jesus with kids in public schools? I want more kids to have the same chance that I had.
Would you help reach more children by making a gift to Crossroads today?
Help reach kids with the hope of the gospel. Visit ReachOur.
As a member of Samaritan Ministries, your monthly share is a gift that goes directly to a real person in need. While that share takes care of the financial portion of a need, medical needs are complex and include the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual aspects as well. While the financial gift is important, if we stop there, we miss an opportunity to minister to the whole need of our brother or sister. When you faithfully pray and send a note of encouragement and scripture along with your share, those words become a vessel of God's continued healing and blessing on the receiver. And the impact it has is immeasurable, bringing glory to God and provision and unity to His church. Glorify God with your health care. Send a note this month.
Would you join Financial Issues and Preborn as we celebrate heartbeats? Your tax-deductible donation of $120 or any amount will provide free ultrasounds, counseling aid, and the gospel message to a mother in an unplanned pregnancy. Become a heartbeat hero and give monthly to save lives over and over again. To donate, dial pound 250 and say the keyword baby, or go to financialissues.org and click on the preborn banner.
The opinions and recommendations expressed on this program do not necessarily represent the opinions of the station or any of the program sponsors. Additionally, all products or services offered by the program sponsors may not be known by the program.
Mark, we're still here. 610
We are still here. Oh my gosh. I was just thinking as we were going out, I thought, this was the shortest show. Everything goes so fast. And I thought, I was so wrapped up in the emotion of preborn and how it, I think I told you during the previous break how I almost emotionally lost it a little bit there. So I got wrapped up and I lost where we were in the show. I'm so glad we got another segment left here.
Well, remember, I'm the keeper of the clock, so I allowed the additional segment.
So basically, it's Sam's fault, but it's also Sam's benefit that we're still in the air. So that's good.
I'm a cruel mistress.
That's awesome. 610-363-1110. Hey, folks, if you're listening to the show and you have a question, why aren't you calling in? Give us a call right now. You got to call in and ask your question, especially if you were one of those, like we said at the beginning, Mark, we've gotten a lot of questions on our online portal. Maybe people are just a little bit shy, but obviously, with a lot of questions, there might be a wait time. If you don't want that wait time, give us a call right now and we'll answer your question right now as soon as you call in. 610-363-1110. That's the number. Give us a call. We'd love to talk to you. Mark, let's get to Pete, 65 years old. Pete is saying, hey, Mark, great job answering my questions about Social Security a couple weeks ago. Pete, thank you. For those who weren't there, we answered Pete's question on Social Security back in the overtime. I think it was last Friday in January during our overtime segment. Pete says, one nuance you did not address, if I understand the rules correctly, is that for couples who choose to wait until age 70 to receive payments only increase for the higher earning spouse past full retirement age. So there might never be any reason for the lower earning spouse not to start taking payments at full retirement age. What do you think about that, Mark?
Well, he's exactly right. And thanks, Pete, for bringing that up. I thought we did address that, but if we didn't, if it was just in our minds or in prep or something, I appreciate you bringing that out. Spousal benefits do not grow after the full retirement age. So you nailed that. So if the lower earning spouse has their own work record, the benefit does not grow, from choosing the spousal option. So when claiming at full retirement age, there's times it makes sense. For example, the lower earners benefit, I'm trying to think how best to say this. The lower earner's own benefit is small and they plan to move to the spousal benefit, or the health concerns suggest shorter life expectancy, or just income is needed, or you just don't believe the benefits will be there in the future with the way the government goes. Those are reasons for claiming your benefit at full retirement age instead of postponing it. So, and there's some reasons to postpone it if you believe the longevity's there. If you have, if you don't have any income needs at this point, you're set up. The Lord has blessed you fine for that. So anyway, thank you for that, Pete. You're absolutely right. And it doesn't hurt to emphasize it. Thank you for helping us to do that.
Okay, Mark, I'm going to do it. Not sure if I was going to, but I'm going to do it at risk of entering into a Social Security conversation. I have to ask a follow-up question for
this. Just when you thought it was safe to go back into Social Security.
Like, cut his mic, Sam. Cut it off.
This is why we weren't going to do the segment.
Exactly. We weren't going to do this last segment. No. Here's my question, Mark, for this. Someone like me or someone like Sam who's in our 30s and we're years away from all this stuff and we are wondering, is it even going to be there for us? Asking for people who are in Pete's situation where they're in their 60s, is it a good idea to plan for Social Security in any way, or should we try to invest when we're younger to a point where we don't need Social Security to live off of if it's not going to be there? Or should we factor it in?
Yeah, good question, Seth. And this is something, this is like asking me where the markets are going to go.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, it would seem to be, Mark, this is kind of don't presume on the future type of thing, right?
It is. That's
really what I'm wondering.
Do what God has enabled you to do. Yeah. That's like waiting, my dad, let's say that you're someone and your dad has been very successful, your mom and dad is very successful, and you're expecting a huge inheritance, so you don't worry about saving or investing for the future. And then your parents pass away and you find out they left it all to the church or to ministries, or they actually spent it all and they didn't tell anybody, So, don't presume upon the future. God says, I am giving you all this information, all this ability, and all this wealth, all this money to utilize. Do the best you can with it as often as you can, and don't presume upon the future. So Social Security may be there, may not. I really think for anybody who is already born or who is at least of age, like 18 or older, I don't think they'll get rid of Social Security for those people. They may change the rules, they may change what it does down the road for those that are younger than adults or that haven't been born yet. But I don't think that any politician has the intestinal fortitude to play with this in any way that would cause them to lose office because they're doing the right thing.
Yeah. If they were to take it away, Mark, it would basically be a death sentence to their political career. Or if
it would be.
If it came out
especially for those who are already on Social Security.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's like we've paid in, 50, 60 years into Social Security, some more than that. And the idea that this, like you say, it's a government handout. It is in the sense that this is nothing more than a tax which they've created, and they use it in other ways. But it's something we paid for, and quite frankly, we deserve so much more than it gives us. But that can be changed, and it can be changed in a very positive way. How about starting IRAs when you're born, like the Trump accounts? That's a great idea. How about if we put money into if we do have a government retirement account, that the money is controlled just like they do for insurance company, where it has to be in separate accounts and cannot be borrowed against and cannot be used for anything except for paying the benefits. Yeah, absolutely. And then allowing it to be in the market.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Mark, I'm glad to hear that, and I hope that all of our listeners will take that to heart. And that even gets back to, I think, when we answered Pete's original question, one of the things that we did talk about too there, Mark, is it is a good idea to work as long as you can. If you can, understanding that not everybody can do that, but if you can work is good. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yep. All right, Mark, we'll leave the Social Security stuff for now as our audience breathes a sigh of relief. Scott, who's 48, is asking, what would be the best account to set up for my 3 daughters? They're 13, and 11, to begin investing and learning biblically responsible investing with a long-term mindset. They have some money to invest. They've expressed interest in doing this. My wife and I have a brokerage and retirement accounts through Charles Schwab already. What should Scott do, Mark?
Yeah, Seth, this is similar to some of the conversations you and I had about your children.
It is, Mark. Yeah.
And so you want to address this?
Sure, I'd be glad to. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Scott, we appreciate you asking, brother. And this jumps off what we were just saying, Mark. This is a great way for you to, leave an inheritance in a way that honors God. So there's a couple options for you, Scott. First that comes to mind for me is the UGMA-UTMA. It's the custodial account. It's controlled by you while the child's still a minor, but when they hit the age of majority, and usually that's 18 or 21, depending on the state and the state law, the account becomes theirs. The pros for this, it's easy to set up. There's no contribution limits. It's flexible with funds. There's investment flexibility, long-term. Anyone can contribute. Potential tax advantages for smaller amounts. The cons for this, and I think this is the big one we've talked about, Mark, is the gift is irrevocable and it's loss of control. So once the child gains full access, it is theirs. And maybe the child is not at a mature level enough yet to handle the amount of money that's in there. So it's just something that you have to think about. There's also some negative impact on financial aid and different things like that. Those are just some things that you could think through. Another option, Mark, this is one that we've talked briefly before about, is the teenage Roth. This may require, though, that your kids have some earned income. If they have earned income, even babysitting money or lawn mowing money, you can contribute the following, Scott. So it'd be the teenager's total income for the year or the annual Roth IRA contribution limit. So it's $7,500 for 2026. Teenagers are under 50, so obviously they're not eligible for the catch-up contribution. Whichever of those is less, that's what they can contribute. And then when they hit that age of majority, Scott, the regular Roth rules apply, which is great for tax-free growth. That's a better advantage than the UGMA-UTMA because you get that tax-free growth. And since they can't touch it, Mark, until they're 59 and a half, gives them decades of growth potential. Can also go with the 529 plan, Scott, but that kind of boxes you into just school or education purposes.
Yeah, don't like the 529 anywhere near as these other options.
Exactly. And then, Mark, you had mentioned, of course, the Trump accounts also. That could be one. The problem with the Trump accounts is right now there are no biblically responsible options for them, according to our research.
Well, or no clarity in the wording to show that it will be. So that's why we're raising our voice on that.
Yeah.
And excellent. Well done, Seth.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate that. Hopefully that was a good palate cleanser after the Social Security scare that we had.
I think we all vote yay.
Thanks, Mark. Appreciate that,
good job. And it's been this time is for real, folks, when I say thank you for being with us as we go out of our last segment. Thank you for having a sense of humor and bearing with us, bearing with me when I get emotional on these shows. But, life is worth being emotional about. And we do appreciate your coming alongside us and coming along preborn. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for loving the Lord so much that you want to honor him in all you do, including your investments. We so much appreciate you being with us. See you tomorrow.
we ever forget that we're one nation under God, then we will be a nation going under.
Thank you for joining us. This has been an FISM production.